Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trio, our weekly look at all things Hong Kong racing and also through the whirlpool all around the globe. Clint Hutchison's the best form analyst in Hong Kong. We've got the Hall of Fame jockey and the Golden Boy in Raymond Shane Dye and a very special panellist in Brenton Avdulla, which is brilliant to have him here. Firstly, hello, Hutch.
Yeah, hi, Richo. I can't wait for this weekend. It is a big weekend. We've got the Blue Diamond, like you mentioned, in Australia. So we're going to be all over that, and that's why, Brenton, you're down here in Oz.
Yeah, looking forward to being back in town. And, obviously Melbourne's biggest two-year-old race, and interesting to see how it maps out.
Yeah, you've got a live chance. We'll talk about that and a lot more. Hello, Golden Boy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself, Richo. It's nice that you could join us this week and you're not at the women's golf or whatever they call it, where they score 500 runs over 2 days and the 550 runs in front. What a waste of time that was, Richo.
It was a good win to Australia over South Africa.
Do you know next week...
They struggled.
Shane, next week, Richo's going to be back for our show, but he's actually doing a ride around Tasmania for charity, which takes about 3 days. I don't know how many kilometres is it?
It's only 600.
It's only 600.
Just 600.
But he'll be back for the show. He might be walking a bit funny, Shane, a bit like you do these days, but he's going to make it here next week.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Good effort. Anything for charity is a good effort. So I'm not going to knock that, Richo.
God love you, mate. We've got a huge show coming up. All the normal favours with our very special guest. And we've got Brenton Avdulla in a headlock and we're going to make sure he stays for the entire show. So,
mate, he hasn't got a wedding to go to, has he?
Oh, well.
Not this time.
No, not this time. I tell you what, a lot of these jockeys are getting married at the moment. So I actually paused for a moment and thought, hang on, who's getting married this week?
Yeah, no one's
Did they
getting married
realise
this week.
that 50% of them end up in divorce anyway? So
Hey, what is it? If they're living with you for 12 months, you're already giving half away anyway. So you might as well have a party for it.
Yeah, very well done. Hey, before we even get into bursting out of the gates, Jamie Richards retired Wellington during the week.
Yeah, big star in Hong Kong racing, so he's been such a magnificent servant. Jamie hadn't had him that long. He was under Richard Gibson's tutelage for the majority of his career, but look, he did an unbelievable job. He was Hong Kong's best sprinter there for a period of time and a formidable record, and yeah, we'll wish him well in retirement. I presume he'll be going to Living Legends, but I'm not sure if there's been any announcements on where he might end up.
I think they might have even said Kiora.
Okay.
Maybe. I think I think, I read somewhere there, I reckon. So those good ones from Hong Kong, they do get well looked after. So he'll be right.
They deserve it, don't they, Brenton, after being up there for a while?
A quality sprinter. He travelled over to Europe, only, 8 months ago. And look, he didn't show his absolute best there. But in Hong Kong, with the right tempo in the race, he was elite with a capital E.
He was unbelievable, yeah. He had a great turn of foot. They tried him over a little further early on, but 1200 was his sweet spot. Good speed, ridden quiet, and terrific racehorse. So he'd always had few little niggles too throughout his career, but he was brilliant.
Massive, massive show coming up. Let's burst out of the gates. We burst out of the gates with Brenton Avdulla, one of his many, many winners. Mate, before we get to this, by gee, you've been in really good touch lately, mate. What's been the key in the last couple of weeks?
Faster horses make it easier, but it's funny, I started to get a real roll on obviously before Christmas, and then I got suspended, and then I already had the time off organised, and then sort of basically started again from scratch. So then to build up, a couple of suspensions has probably helped up. But to get some nice quality horses and was able to get some nice rides and get the job done.
Yeah, and the ride made the difference here on Atala Begil. Run us through this one, Brent. This was obviously got a suspension out of it, but you had a lot of horse.
I did. He's a horse who's always been blessed with a good turn of speed, and when Keegan won on him first run for the season, he was held up to about the 100 and he burst through, and then a couple times he sort of loomed up and sort of just got a little bit lost. So I said to Dave, to me, I'm just going to hold him up for as long as possible. So Alexi was obviously waiting for me, and the way the track was, I was just happy to stay in, find the fences Shane loves, and I was able to get the run at the right time. But
did you notice that Global Harmony had stood in the stalls, or did you have one thought, I wonder if he's jumped?
If you watch the head on down the back as the gates open, you'll see me go looking. I turn my head around and I'm looking. I was confident he wasn't jumping that horse because when he trialled the other day, he's always been a very calm, relaxed horse. Yeah. As soon as they started calling him up to the gates, you could just feel his attitude change. And I said to Zach, "Good luck, buddy."
Oh, really?
I could tell he wasn't going to. I was confident he wasn't jumping.
That's incredible. So there he is.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
And watch me. So I obviously see me sort of 3 off,
Yeah,
and then I sort of just after that you see me start turning around. But so I was basically just riding my race to obviously I thought Alexi, to suit my horse and think Alexi was the one to beat.
Right.
And I was able to get the run at the right time. I could see Keefe drifting. I was just hoping he drifted a bit further, that I didn't have to make contact with him. But
It's incredible. So you sensed the moment they started to come in, you sensed the horse's attitude change.
yeah, so because he's a blindfold horse, so when they put the blindfold on and when you're behind the gates, a couple minutes out, they call, Avdulla into one or whatever, and they're smart animals. And he heard that. And I reckon his attitude, you could just feel him tense up. So when he's been at the trials, there's been no issue. He had that little jack up at Sha Tin, but usually he's not that bad. And you can just see, even when he didn't jump with Lyle, he got very upset. So when they learned to do that, I was on Chautauqua when he didn't jump. And when they do that, you can't beat them.
Yeah. Shane, what do you do with Global Harmony now?
Well, I said last week that the 2 trials are relevant because it's in his zone in the morning and he's used to it, and they take him to the trials. What he's actually got to do if he wants to stay in Hong Kong, he'll probably send him back to Australia. He's got to have a trial at the races after the last race, half an hour after the last, get Hazy to take 3 or 4 horses over there, have it a race day environment, and see if he jumps in. He's too good a horse to lose. He's a Group 1 horse, that horse, and unfortunately, he looks like going back to Australia. Mentally, he's gone. There's no doubt about that. Brendan just brought that up. He's gone. But trialling him in the morning is irrelevant because it's just every morning they're used to it and they're going to jump most times. They've got to get him into a race day experience. So I'd give him 2 trials at the races and see if he jumps. And if he doesn't jump in one of them, he's barred for life here.
Yeah, the stewards, I think, are still deliberating with David Hayes and working something out. I mean, they want to protect the customer and they want to make sure that it doesn't happen again and cross all the checks and do all the checks and balances. But maybe trialing at the races might be one option for them. But
that's the best.
It may well be, Shane. But if they did that and he was all right, then he did it again in the future, the club would, I'd imagine, still be concerned about it. And David Hayes won't want to lose a good horse like that. Yeah. So my money'd be on he'd be probably returning to Australia. Completely different environment. We'll see how he goes.
We were there together at Moonee Valley the night that Chautauqua was given one last chance of that trial and goes in. Tommy was like, the moment he got in, he said, as soon as he got in.
I knew.
Yeah. What does he do? What do they do, Brent? They just start
funny enough, I was on Chautauqua the day he didn't jump, the first time.
The first ever time?
Yeah, because Tommy was in Hong Kong, funny enough. So, but
Did you start the trend?
Well, no, I got him. So I got him. I rode him once in the Everest and then one other time, and he came back for the next prep. And he was always a little bit slow out. Like he'd sort of just wait for the gates to open. And I trialled him first trial back at Randwick, I think it was. It might have been Rosehill. And anyways, the gates opened, and I just felt a little hesitation. And I said to the boss, Hawksy, I said, felt like he wasn't going to jump. Sure enough, 2 weeks later he trialled. He didn't come out. And I'm like, I knew it, because you could just feel their attitude just change. And once they learn they don't have to go, it's very hard for them too. But they reckon with Chautauqua, I'd seen footage of him at the farm and that. He was jumping out like an Oakley plater.
Yeah.
Really?
So they know. It's not that he can't, he just knows that he probably doesn't have to go on race day.
And the other thing, though, with Chautauqua, like, he wasn't jumping in some of those trials or jump outs here on occasion, well, particularly towards the end, whereas Global Harmony has been. So there's still a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Like, you got to keep racing this guy anyway. He's got the talent, and I think he deserves some time and a bit more perseverance.
Richo, you remember Salcombe, how they changed jockeys after Caulfield Cup and they said they wanted to put Joe on to get it out of the gates?
Yeah.
What happened in the Melbourne Cup?
Well, he jumped slowly away.
He jumps. Jockeys don't make a difference. It doesn't matter who
He didn't jump as slow as him. He got out better than he had been, though.
He gave him
but he still missed the start 3 lengths or 4 lengths or something in the Melbourne Cup.
It was better than the run
That's
prior.
just the horse.
I'm tipping we'll see him at Euroa.
You'll see him at Euroa?
Global, I reckon we'll see him at Euroa.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, boys, that it's not a jockey's fault. You cannot do anything on these horses, and I keep saying that to you. It's the horse. It's not the jockey when you're in the gates. Every jockey wants that horse to jump first, but unfortunately, when they do that, it's out of our hands.
Yep. I think that's a really good point, Shane. But I'll also say this: there are riders out there that are very good out the gates, and some are better,
100%
and some are a lot better than others.
100% they are, but they still can't get that horse out.
Very true.
Is it true, Shane, that when Chautauqua was going through his issues that there'd been a call in for you to see if you could put on the silks again?
No, why? I wouldn't make a difference.
Jeez,
Please, boys.
He didn't take that one.
He wasn't happy with that. Come
Just
on.
the thought of him in the tight lycra.
That's called a simple, ridiculous question.
Well said, Shane. Well said.
God, I love you. Hey, while the big boys have been away, there's been a few jockeys that are riding really, really well. Chow, Teton and Bentley in particular.
Yeah, I mean, Harry's had a good little run. Jerry Chow did what he had to on James Tack, who drew a nice barrier, and this horse looked the one to beat on paper and getting it done. While the major jocks away, Galvanic, nice run on the rails. We're going to talk a little bit more about the runner-up. Brenton rode that one, Satirical Glory, but he's run another placing, and to be beaten by a horse that's, I think, who's no star in Galvanic's a concern. But well done to Harry. Love this ride, Shane. Positive out the gates, put him in the spot, and the ride made a big difference.
Yeah, second horse should have won happy together. He had to go forward on him. The track was off big time, as you know, Clint. After one race, you just knew it was a leader's track, and he made no effort. A little bit slow to jump in all fairness, but he still had to go forward. 60 pounds, and you couldn't get three back the fence there. The jock that I'm impressed with, he's riding quite a few winners, well, not a lot of winners, but won a meeting, but through a race he's going really well, is Hamlin. I think I brought him up a couple of weeks ago, and he's getting beat on things, but he's giving them perfect rides in the race. He's going good, that bloke.
Yeah, right. So hopefully you'll get more opportunities. Brenton, you led a interesting treble, or trifecta for Tony Cruz on Winning Dragon on Wednesday night.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't think it'd happen because obviously Happy Valley's restricted to fields of 12. So I think that horse, I only picked him up on entries. He was third preference. So, the outsider of the three got the job done. But, I wouldn't say it's happened many times. I think maybe one of the first at Happy Valley.
Have a look at
Half
that.
ahead between, and they're all trained by Tony Cruz. And Brenton, you were happy to stay on the fence there.
Yeah, well, like Shane said, I sort of thought it was advantageous to be on the fence. So from where I drew, I was always going to be behind
Red Hair King.
Red Hair King and obviously Livero. And then when Alexi popped off down the back, I was able to sneak up an extra pair. And then when Livero went with Angus, I was able to dart up underneath him. And my horse hasn't won for a little bit. He was wanting to zigzag around a bit, but he got the bob down when it counted.
The third horse should have won easy, Red-Haired King. Now, that was a bad ride, Clint, I reckon. He should have won.
Well, we were part of our service. We were on, believe it or not, Livero and Red Hair King, and Brendan was too good there, but it was a hard watch. It was a hard watch. Red Hair King should have won, yeah. I tend to agree with that, but maybe we'll get him next time. But there was a clear pattern on side, and it just didn't work out for him.
Well, it made us think about, with Tony Cruz's trifecta, it made us do some research in regards to the most training trifectas in a Hong Kong race. John Moore with 7 times, Tony Cruz 5, John Size 4, Casper Founds twice. But there's only been one trainer that's ever delivered a top 4.
Wow.
Now, Raymond Shane Dye has been going through, he's got a whole lot of DVDs at home.
Of himself.
And VHSs. And he dusted this one out to say, hey, boys, it was the 15th of October in 2006. Cass delivered a top 4. And it was, look at me, Raymond Shane Dye. They got the winner here on Green Treasure.
Off the fence there, Shane, as well.
Brilliant, mate.
On the fence the whole way he was that day. I think that was a Group 3 race, wasn't it, Clint? It was a group race, that horse.
Some good horses.
That race.
Yeah.
Do you remember it well?
Oh, mate, I go to bed thinking about it every night.
It was a brilliant ride.
It's hard to have, you don't see it very often in Hong Kong. Firstly, because, it's unusual for trainers to have too many runners in a particular race. But it's usually at that high level where you might have a John Moore or Tony Cruz with 3 or 4, or John Size with 3, 4, 5 horses in a Group 1. But, yeah.
Well, usually the Class 4s and Class 3s are in the Valley. A trainer struggles to get 2 in.
Yeah.
That's right.
So let alone have 3, and then... And that sort of finish, though, I suppose, too. Like, you could run top 3, but...
Yeah.
Hey, Tony seemed pretty happy. He was wrapped with that performance.
Yeah, Tony was good. I said to him, which one were you cheering for? He said, "Man, he was still complaining about something."
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I think it might have been. It was either Angus or Alexi. I'm not sure. He said, "Yeah, he was happy with me."
Would have been Alexi.
So I don't know, but yeah, that was his first thing he said. I enjoy riding for Tony.
It was an outstanding impersonation right there. Man! Looking at the premierships, the championships for both trainers and jockeys. So Pierre leads by 14. Zach leads by 18. Karras is having a nice little run.
Yeah, he's chipping away. But,
Chipping away, but not rushing it, Zach, just
No,
yet.
and I'm keeping my sort of peripheral vision on John's size as well. I think he's 18 behind. He probably could get there, but I don't see Pierre stopping. I think Pierre will win. Just on that, Brenton, quickly, do you have a target for yourself?
Yeah, you're on 18 at the moment.
I thought start of the season, if I got to 40 odd would be a good number, only because, like, I think, what do we go, 88 meetings, so what, 44?
One every two. Yeah.
If I get one a week, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I was probably tracking that way for the first bit, and then that month of December and that quietened down, but got the ball up and running again now. So, I'd say I'd target 40, and I think that's a nice target for my first season.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, the international meeting seemed to have a real buzz around it this year, with everyone, after a COVID period, everyone coming back. What's it like for you as a guy that suddenly has a whole influx of, in particular, Australians all rocking in?
Felt like I was in Australia.
Yeah.
Funny enough, obviously no representation from Australia horse-wise, but the general public, there was a lot of Australian faces around during the week, and had dinner with a lot of people. And Hong Kong's an amazing place now. Just, you've got everyone coming, and it was a massive race day, obviously, and for Hong Kong too. I was proud for Hong Kong, obviously with Golden 60 and Romantic Warrior.
So
and,
good.
Great race day.
It was a massive day, Lucky Sweynesse. So their 3 pin-up horses were able to deliver. It was massive.
Yeah, that was
and for Vincent too, obviously winning the jockey series, and then he's right on Golden 60. So for the jockey club, I don't think they could have asked for anything any better.
No, beautifully described. Well, let's find some black bookers. Sweet in defeat.
They're off, and Sugar missed the start by 4 lengths. Then Dublin Star, Sugar Fast Buck, smart leader. Oversubscribed, lunges at the post, missed. Sugar, that's a sweet win for Alfie Chan.
Our black bookers here on the Triple Trio is called the Sweet in Defeat file, the SID file. Who jumps in?
I got 3 in total, Richo. I like the week that was, and Great Spirit, a debutant. Like the way that he hit the line. He was beaten by another first starter who was impressive. The race is rated well. It's a horse that's going to get up over a bit of ground. I think be one to follow. Now, Unpresuming was also resuming. I thought that was a good run for John Size. He'll benefit a lot from that. He'd had a fair gap between runs, and the way he attacked the line was pretty good. And I'm going to go with Gallant Valor. We saw a real pattern at the Valley Wednesday. It was a rails or fence. A big plus for any horse that was on the fence throughout the night. Rails in run was massive. And he will also be one to follow. Great Spirit, though. Shane, I didn't mind this run. I thought it was quite encouraging for a first starter.
Yeah, and he looks as though he definitely wants 1,400 to a mile. His trials were very, very good before this run, so he's going to be winning races. The other horse you mentioned before, Gallant Valor. He's been consistent all season, Clint. I think he's had 5 starts for a win in 4/3. He had no option from gate 12. He had to go back the other night on a on-pace, fence, bias track. So when he gets a gate, he can race further. And also, I don't think he had raced past 1,200 metres before that race, so he can definitely run 1,600, so that's another bow to him, so he can win again too.
There's one to ring for, Brenton.
Funny enough, I actually rode him a couple of runs ago at 1,200, and I said to Jamie, I reckon he's looking for 14. He ran again with Zach at 12, and Zach said he wants 14, so he went to the mile. So I think when Zach gave Jamie the all clear to go longer, he listened.
Right.
hey, but he didn't listen to any of your jocks. He didn't go 14.
No, he didn't go to 14. But
he might come back to 14. That's what you jump on.
I suppose that's the thing. You deal with those horses at Happy Valley, and you go, they want 1,400. And they go to Sha Tin and just that bit stronger. Yeah. And they are better off sometimes being at the mile, just a fraction longer around the valley, and they seem to perform. But he was obviously very good, and funny enough, he was the first one I rung for on Wednesday night at midnight.
So explain that to our international audience that don't understand. So you have to actively go out there and find your own mounts. You do the form and say, this is the one I want to be on.
Yeah, so... you can see everyone knows which horses you want to ride.
Yeah.
You will know which ones, but basically it's very hard to get on them. As the day progresses or the night progresses, you're looking at horses that are racing well, ones you want to stick with, and then, sure enough, after the last, you might go through your replays again and I employ a driver so I can do that sort of stuff. So on the way home, it takes me about 30 minutes to get home. I'm in the car with my iPad going through the runners and trying to chase rides. And people go, well, if you don't do it, well, there's still another 20 jockeys there in the room that are going to be doing it. So if you don't do it, they think, one, you're not interested, and
Right.
two, obviously you haven't. Yeah.
So you're doing that on the Wednesday night on the way home,
Yes.
the races?
Yep.
And you're booking them for, hey, when is that horse running next? I want to be on him. It's as simple as that?
Pretty much, yeah. So obviously I don't know how Zach or Huey might do it, but for me, I'm still learning my way about it. And I'm much better at it now than what I was when I first got there. But yeah, chasing hard. So basically I'm just trying to get on as many horses I think can run well. And usually most trainers will get back to you either midnight Wednesday night or maybe early hours of Thursday morning. The ATs might approach you.
Has it given you a new appreciation for your managers back in Australia, or what they have to do?
Yes and no. Sometimes I think it's not that hard getting a good ride or saying no. So
Brendan, you realise I was very disliked because I was the first jockey to do that. No one ever rung for a ride in Australia until I come to Australia.
Right.
And they used to nickname me Fingers because I'd ring everyone for rides.
another
and
one.
they said, you can't do it.
He's got
I
another
said,
one.
why?
Hang on.
And I said, my job is to get on the best horse. And they said, but you can't, you're not allowed to ring for rides. And I used to say, but why? That's my job. But I was the first to do that, and I changed Australian racing doing it.
And I think you find even now in Australia, like it happens much more. But I remember like when I was coming through, and you'd be aligned with stables, and you think you'd be riding horses, and you get such and such rank for that ride, and I'd be like, he's trying to steal my horse, But when you're in Hong Kong,
It's
nothing.
unfair.
Well, nothing. It's just how it is because, like I said, it's obviously a small pool of horses, small pool of trainers, small pool of jockeys, and
But you can't
it's
take
to
it
rotate.
personally.
You can't take it personal.
Right.
You just got to move on with it and try and get the best ride and make the most opportunity
I
of it.
think that has changed, and the jockey that changed that in Hong Kong anyway back in the day was Basil Marcus. He'd be very, very proactive, and the South African jockeys were all, and I'll say this as a generalisation, they had 10 lengths on any of the Aussie jocks at the time because they'd been well schooled in the apprentice school, and they were more than happy to do what they had to do to get the rides, and they were far more proactive than a lot of the Aussies back in those days. They didn't want to step on someone's toes and that type of thing.
It's also a confidence thing, though, Hutch. Like when I first went over there, like how it's difficult for me to ring up, trainers or people that I don't know and say, "Well, put me on." And a lot of them too don't even follow where my history's been. So it's a bit of a common thing. The more confident I've been, and the more I've been there. And now it feels like if I was back in home in Australia, I could just pick up the phone and ring Waller and say, "Oh, I want to ride this," which I probably previously would have prior to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I'd just let my manager do it. But now, I suppose, blokes like James and that in Australia now, they probably do it more than
they used to.
anyone. And I think that's a big thing with a lot of the riders coming back from Hong Kong to Australia. Might have been with Luke Curry now, He might be chasing rides harder than what he used to, and he's riding really well. So it might just be a thing. I think that side of my business is eventually when I do return back to Australia, whether that's 6 months, 5 years, I don't know, I think that side of my business will be much more better than what it was before I left.
Fascinating insight.
It is.
Right.
And Shane never, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you talk about confidence in ringing trainers. See, Shane never lacked that.
No, that's
He never
right.
lacked that. Shane had that in spades.
That's right. He never
And
said.
we've got some good clips coming up in the weeks to come of Shane as well.
And all you need to do is just send him a clip of one of your golden slipper wins, mate. That was unbelievable. So his name's Raymond, but RS, Shane, Billy Idol, Golden Boy, Fingers are just five of the nicknames that he's got, because he has told James McDonald that he's nothing because he's only got one nickname in J-Mac.
That's true, because J-Mac rang me going on, I rode 50 Group 1 winners before you, which actually wasn't true. I beat him to 50. It's a story in the paper, Brendan. So I checked and I rang the bloke who rode it, and I said, there's no way. I was way under 30 years old when I rode 50. And he checked. He said, shit, you were. Sorry about that. So J-Mac rang me skiting, and I said to him, no way. He said, mate, yes, I am. I said, anyway, how many nicknames you got? I had 5, mate. You haven't made it until you got more than your name.
Well, you've got him twice. Too
quick, too good.
Yeah.
We digress. Money Munchers is back.
Yes, it is, and it's on the back of the performance of this horse, Satirical Glory, who, once I saw the pattern on Wednesday, I thought, great, he's going to get to the front, his races have rated well enough, and he really should be hard to beat. Now, Brenton, he was Very well rated. He seemed to have his chance. I don't want you to sort of cause any ownership group and upset them, but he seemed to have every possible, didn't he?
He's too good for me.
Okay.
Too good for me. He's a horse who obviously he's had 15 or 16 runs now in Hong Kong, and he's loomed a couple times. James was on him a couple of runs ago, ran second. He's been from off speed, in front, controlled, but I felt, 600 out, it was race over. He'd just keep galloping, and by the time he cornered, I could feel him just tense and as soon as Galvanic, I'd ridden Galvanic to start before. Yeah. Galvanic put a quick length on me, and what I liked but didn't like is he didn't shirk the task, but he just held on Galvanic's heels the whole way up the straight.
Yeah. Is that what they sense? He just herd mentality and just wants to run in behind them.
Yeah. So look, I'll leave it to Hazy what he decides to do with him. But sometimes you find those horses, he'd be too keen in blinkers at that distance. Sometimes those horses might be better off getting back in distance, shades on and running on, or leading by 15. I don't know. I'd leave that one. Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, though, Shane, I'm going to start, and you feel free to add to the file as well, because I think there are a few money munchers around, and often when I put them in that file, they usually will come out and win soon thereafter. But I think we have to bring it back.
Yeah.
But there's also horses that like Golden Rise last start, right? I thought he had no hope last start and he was favourite, only because, I didn't think he was a $3.30 chance. I priced him $9 or something. Because the start before, he got the best run of all time. The horse broke down and took half the field out, and John Sires, Zach, perfect run, wins the race. So he's got this image, and next start he's drawn out a bit, going to get back. Horse isn't going to probably break down, and he goes out $2.80 or $3 something, and he just wasn't that. So there's horses like that too, Clint, that you can pick up on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've got to put myself into the Money Muncher file. On a Wednesday night at Happy Valley, I have to get in a room full of mirrors, have a good look at myself. I start chasing. I'm making fundamental errors. I'm listening to the guru, and then
we had 5 seconds on Wednesday.
But then what I'm doing is I'm getting a little smart. I'm taking your intel and then trying to add a couple of layers on it. It just ends in tears.
Well, look, you're too good not to bounce back.
Do you stay up that late?
Mate, I just keep sitting by the phone waiting for my WhatsApp group message from you to say, hey, Richo, you want to get on one in the next? That's all I wait for.
He was waiting a long time on
sometimes
Wednesday.
do it on a Sunday, but not on a Wednesday night because it's too late for you.
Too late, that's right.
You need your beauty sleep.
That's exactly right, my friend. Hey, your time to shine, genius or slaughter.
The end across, answering the urgings of Shane Dye. Mannerism coming at him. Mannerism has got it. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. He's got Octagonal in full flight on the corner. Bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
The Golden Boys' time to shine, genius or slaughter, Raymond Shane, are in your hands. Who caught your eye?
Oh, this was an outstanding ride, but everyone knows it. Starship 80. Like back in November, I gave Karras a bake-over as ride on this horse. Since then, he's won 3 races on a Class 5 horses and ridden it sensational.
This was amazing.
The good thing about Karras is he actually does listen to the show and he takes advice. And we spoke last week about Mugen, and he rode this horse exactly how he should be ridden. We can also talk about the grey horse up ahead getting improper riding charge. But he rode him, saved all the energy in the world. Back there, didn't go wide. Brother Pearl was a good run. The horse that went way out, he should have stayed in. He's in again tomorrow, I think, on Sunday. And he just got the best run. And when you're that far back, they always open up at the 200 metres. And you can see they opened up, and the ride won the race. But it's not hard to find that ride. It was a sensational ride, Clint.
Yeah, it was, and it was good for us because we liked him on the day. And he's actually backing up this weekend, he's going to be a good chance again. Pierre's happy to back a lot of these horses up, works well, and I think he'll give a good account. Starship 80. We do have to talk about the suspension though, Lyle. I mean, gee, it was a strange from the point of view that he seemed to really be persevering, Shane, with this run, which just, I can understand competitive riding, but he just took it too far, didn't he?
Oh, 100%. And he was guilty, and he just panicked on the horse, as simple as that. He wanted to get out and get going. He didn't need to. They'd gone along at a nice clip, but he wanted to get the horse into the clear, and he panicked, and that's all it was. He pleaded guilty. He hasn't got a case to answer to, and he'll do his time and move on.
I mean, the surprising part for me was just that he kept. It seemed to go on for a furlong. Normally they'll try it, and it doesn't work out, then they'll throttle down. But anyway,
did the horse overreact, Brett? I'm reluctant to get you involved here. I don't want to get you into trouble. When you watched that, though, did the horse overreact a bit as well?
I think it was the positioning of where Lyle tried to push from.
Right.
You know, I think he was obviously marginally behind Derek, who was wide the trip, expecting Derek to probably drop out.
Off, yeah.
And once he's made contact, it's probably turned Derek on top of him. At the same time, too, you'll see the horse in front step out a fraction.
Yeah, shifts out.
And it just probably put Lyle in an awkward spot, and he just continued on. But yeah, you can just see obviously the horse. I think Matty's horse just continued to sort of wobble out half. But yeah, those sorts of horses, especially the Class 5s, they don't take much interference before anything happens. So yeah.
When the inside horse, I'll explain. So this is the outside horse, inside horse. So when the inside horse is coming through and you try and bump that one out there, it hits its rump and it turns it straight in.
Yeah.
And you can see it. That happens every race if you hit a horse on its rump. It doesn't go out. It actually turns it in. It's the reverse result because your rump goes out, your body goes in, and you can see that's what happened there.
Okay. Any slaughters that caught your eye?
Oh, mate, I don't even want to put up Red Hair King. I'll go on for too long. It was just a bad ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll put it on. We'll mark it down though. Can we mark it somewhere and give it a negative or something?
We'll mark it. Well, we'll find out, of course, because right next to me is racing's highest individual honour, the Academy Awards of thoroughbred racing around the world.
True.
It is called the Idol. And there it is in all its glory, Brenton. I know you're tempted to touch it, but please do not touch it.
I need the white Melbourne Cup glove.
Correct.
The Michael Jacksons.
Yeah.
I know that all the jockeys in Hong Kong are trying desperately to win this. It's been the talk of the jockeys' room, no doubt.
For sure. the two biggest things: who's going to win the Idol, and is there an award for who gets as many slaughters?
Richo, we're running out of time, and you're just talking shit now.
Who did you give the votes to this week?
Brenton got 2 because he rode those 3 winnings and gave them all a good ride. Winning Dragon, Out of a Bill was a really good ride, even though he got time on it. Just a perfect ride. I don't care about that like that. He didn't really put him in a lot of danger, the other jock. Bentley rode 3 winners and gave them all good rides. Packing Hurricane and the other 2 were at Happy Valley in the right spot. And Teton rode a Starship 80 extremely well. And I'm giving Hamlin a point for Edderfield. It was a really good ride. Like, it was midfield, one off the fence. He could have gone forward at about the 1,000 metres or half mile. He had one come up around. He waited until the straight and then he come out and he hit the line and won. And that horse hasn't won for a while, and he's been running a lot of placings and racing well. I think Hamlin's riding extremely well at present.
Well, that might be good, plus for Antoine as well, Antoine Hamlin, Shane, because a lot of good, leading jockeys had been on Adderfield, and he's actually got it. And I think the public do notice that. So
no doubting that.
But he's getting beat on a lot, like that horse that you brought up in your horses to follow. What was it called?
Unpresuming.
Yeah,
Unpresuming. Gave it a perfect ride. He drew out, I think, about gate 8. End up 3 back on the fence. The horse laid in. He stayed, saved ground. Come around the horse, got to the front. Was very strong on it, and it just got beat in a bob of a head finish. Not his fault, but he's getting beat a lot like that, and he's given them good rides.
Well, let's have a look at the leaderboard for racing's highest individual honour, and Brenton Avdulla sits impressively there in 4th position, only 6 points off Zach. Brenton, can you win the Idol?
Oh, I'll be trying, but Zach's obviously going to be very hard to beat because he'll probably ride 5 winners every week.
And I received a message from a J. McDonald from Sydney who said he wants to retrospectively be put into the voting system, that he's riding enough in Hong Kong.
Shane said no.
Well, Shane needs to relook at it.
Okay. Well, he's got to move to Hong Kong, and the sooner the better.
Right.
He can't have the best of both worlds, and he's giving what I'm filthy about is it's so hard to make money in Hong Kong, and he's giving it half to the Australian tax office. I just cry.
Shane, is he going to move to Hong Kong? When's it going to happen?
He will. 100% he will. I don't know when, but if he doesn't, he's an idiot, isn't he?
When he probably goes past that record, I reckon that's what he'll be going for.
Go past D. Oliver.
Yeah.
Can I just point something out about that, right? In 100 years' time, no one actually cares. or 50 or 20. Actually, in 1 year's time, no one cares about records. The records are meant to be broken, and when they're broken, someone else will break them, and life goes on.
Well said.
He's got to be where he's happy. If he's happy in Australia, stay here. If he loves the money and happy with the lifestyle in Hong Kong, go to Hong Kong. And only he and his wife knows that.
He's loving Hong Kong this year.
Written and authorised by Raymond Shane Dye. More with B. Avdulla now. We continue our chat with not our special guest, but our special panellist in Brenton Avdulla. Hey, California Voce, take us through him and moving forward, what level he can get to.
He won well the other day, obviously. Sha Tin mile. We were able to suck through, get the right runs, but he was strong late.
And he at this point would be your, well, you go to the Classic Cup.
He runs in the 1800, and Sweet Encounter obviously had that strong 4-year-old form from last season, who's been racing well. So I think the 1800 will suit him, and a horse will probably be corrosive once he gets to 2000. But he showed a good turn of speed, and I think he'd be a live hope coming there on next week, because obviously you got that mile form with obviously Helios Express and that. How far Helios will go, I'm not sure, but I reckon once these horses get to 18 and 2000, there might be a bit of a change in the guard there.
Well, it's interesting you bring up, Brenton, the pedigree, because we've got Group 1 Gold Mine, and we've done a little analysis with this fantastic tool. Great with all the data that is presented through Group 1 Gold Mine. Get involved with that as well if you can. But this would suggest, Brenton, with all the analytics, that 1800 is the absolute sweet spot, and possibly 2000, no issue whatsoever. But 16 to 2000 is great. 1800, if anything, with this guy's going to be bang on. So what you're saying is interesting regarding the Derby, because he should be coming into his own up to the 1800, and there's a few others that there's got to be a question mark around them.
For sure. I think Starmac trialled yesterday or the day before with Karras. He seemed to trial up well and run on. He probably should have finished a bit closer in the mile the other day, but I think Helios is the most talented, probably 4-year-old of the season, with anything I've had to do with, and just whether if you can switch off well enough for an 18 and 2000, but I'll leave that to Huey and the Master in John Tyres.
What's your gut feel, though?
I think if he draws middle to out, he's vulnerable, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
If he gets more fresh air, you need to draw low and be smothered.
I think so, yeah. But I'm not saying, look, class can take him a long way, especially when they're in their own age. They can run past distances that aren't ideal. I reckon he could come back next season and be one of the better class 6 and 7 furlong horses we see. Right. So, it'd be interesting. I think the 1800 will tell us a lot more, and we'll see where we're going. Even Pierre's horse, he looks like the generation horse. I think he'll be a really strong stayer, when he gets to that to the 2000 for sure.
Yeah. Okay, talking of class, you trialled California Spangle. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I was happy with him. First feel of him, he's just a galloper, just loves to roll. He another 4-year-old Helene Feeling trialled with the shades on. So, I was happy with him. First feel, he'll run in the 1400, which I think will be probably one of the most competitive Group 1s we've had in Hong Kong. You'll have Lucky Sweyness with James, you'll have him. Wellington was meant to be there. I think Huey's riding Taj Dragon. So I think it's going to be a really competitive Group 1, and it'll be interesting for sure.
And it's nice. I mean, you're getting a lot of support from Tony Cruz, and it's an important stable to get support from, because Tony's a legend of Hong Kong racing. But that's got to sort of feel good in a way, because one of the big trainers in Hong Kong's getting right behind you, giving you great opportunities, including with California Spangle. Yeah,
it is. And look, obviously everyone knows my sort of John Size has been giving me a lot of support and a lot of help. But one thing John's always told me is you got to get in with the Chinese trainers, and Tony Cruz is obviously a legend of Hong Kong. He's given me some nice rides, and I've been able to get the job done. So that's the next target, is trying to ride for as many trainers as possible to open up.
Pierre, Frankie Law.
Well,
and all that.
exactly. I haven't had a ride for Pierre, so I can't get a look in there at the moment. I'm trying. Frankie Law, I think I've had one ride for. Francis, I might have had 2 or 3, 4 for a winner. So Tony and Manford have been probably the two of the more local trainers that have given me a go, and nice to be able to try and get some results from.
Sure, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, correct. Let's pivot towards global racing. We start our global racing segment making our way to Qatar. Now, Russian Emperor was once again being the globe trotter. What did you make of this run, Hutch?
Yeah, I think, look, I haven't we don't rate meetings or anything like that, but he was given a peach from Alberto Senna last year and he managed to win. He would, I think Alberto's ridden him a similar way and he's probably run to a similar mark, to be honest. The winner was far too good. But, Douglas has taken that horse overseas twice and he's run well. And as Shane said on a previous show, they've got to sort of look globally at those mile and a half races for him because Hong Kong's just not going to be suitable from that perspective.
Yeah, totally. From a whirlpool point of view, from a global sense, Saturday is huge. Obviously, Caulfield and then into the Saudi Cup. Blue Diamond Stakes Day, Brenton, is one of the great days of Australian racing with the 3 Group 1s and group races throughout. It's a beauty.
Yeah, it looks a good day's racing, doesn't it? And some of the best horses are there. So you obviously get the bright side, and then the 2-year-old. There's so many variables, isn't there? They're coming from everywhere, and it'll be a good race. So hopefully, just a track race as well, and everyone gets their chance.
Interesting globally with the whirlpool as well. There's of course the Cox Plate and the Hong Kong Cup. A lot of the form ties in. You've got Romantic Warrior running on the weekend, Mr. Brightside, Luxembourg, who obviously ran in Hong Kong as well, running in Saudi. So a lot of these high-rated horses around the globe will be running, and plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, from a Whirlpool customers' point of view, that is a super
brilliant
day into a wonderful night of racing wherever you are around the globe. We'll steer you hopefully into a couple of winners at Caulfield. The Futurity Stakes is going to be totally and utterly dominated by Mr. Bryce.
Yeah, there's no need to do too much tipping here. I mean, look, I reckon a little exacta in Hong Kong. I think Nugget's got a great chance. He'd just map on the back of the speed. He's got Doncaster form. Brightside should be winning. He's $1.50 now. I think he starts shorter. I'll be throwing Munimik in an exacta as well. I reckon he could run. He'll do right on a place, but I just think he'll be a lot closer in the run. He brings that CF4 form. And like I said, the favourite will be prohibitive odds, so there might be better value in the exacta.
Yeah, I think Nugget at $2.05 the place, as opposed to Mr. Brightside at $1.50 the win, would be the way that I'm playing. But he's going to totally and utterly dominate this race, Brenton. You don't have a ride in the race, but he's clearly the one you wanted to, if you could say to one trainer, C. Williams off, B. Avdulla on, that's the one you want, isn't it?
Yeah, look, so obviously you'll probably get Buffalo River. Bowl along. Attrition's an interesting horse. I think he's in for a good prep. I was rumours told that Ben got a chopper to out wide the trial him the other day, and he was happy with the trial and sticks with him. So he's obviously going well, and the good horse Brightside. He was obviously probably half fit. It sounded like the other day and got the job done. So he's obviously going to be the one to beat.
Yeah, Attrition won the Group 1-2 rack, but he needs to step up for mine and first up as well and probably be back a bit. I think you want to centre on the horses that add a little bit more racing.
And I was keen that Pericles could run really well first up, but he was a little
bit
okay. He ran okay, but he needs to lift a notch because I think Godolphin thought he was going to be their Group 1 performer. The Blue Diamond Stakes, a 2-year-old classic race, and this year, this is one of the great additions.
Well, the key scratching, of course, will be Bodyguard, and he actually would have been my top selection in the race. So he's out. It's still a very competitive race. It's one of the best Blue Diamonds, I think, that they've put together. I'm not sure there's an absolute star there per se because it's so even. There's like literally 7 or 8 chances. But I think these are all good value. Hayasugi, Kuriyanagi, they're both right in the game. I think you could throw Anisa in the mix as well. This is your ride, Brenton. What did you make of Kuriyanagi back on the inside when beaten by Hayasugi?
I thought she was really good, and going through sort of the runs of the day wasn't ideal, probably where she was in the position of the track. So you could probably add a little bit on for her there. But the way I'm taking it is she was obviously had the one run in Adelaide in a field of 4, so I'm taking that as a trial, and that was her first run there. So she will improve second up. I'm looking at it. Drawn low. There wasn't much between the fillies and the colts, obviously, on the day. So, there's a lot of variables, I think. You've got, obviously, those 2 races, the 1000s with Coleman and stuff. Those horses that have obviously, travelled interstate. And I thought Enzina was good the other day too. So, very interesting race.
Anisa and Coleman ran similar sectionals. Coleman did it from the front end, Anisa from back in the field. That'll be different on the weekend. They'll be much closer. They'll much closer. Coleman won't get an easy time. It's going to be a different setup. How can he respond under pressure? Clearly a very good horse. But in the preludes, there's literally, they ran basically the same time. The races will run the same way, the fillies and the colts. And so, and that's not including High Octane, who was very unlucky.
Yeah, really unlucky.
There's literally, Richo, 7 or 8 that could turn the tables. It'll get down to who gets the best ride, probably.
I had 8 in the race that could win, and I'm now making it 7 now that Bodyguard's come out. I don't know if we can have a look at that Phillies edition again, which was the first of our replays with your horse in it. There's a horse that flashes down the outside. Shane, I know you don't necessarily intrinsically do the Australian form. Horse who's flashing down the outside, runs into third, draws barrier 1 on Saturday. Its name is Matisse. She's got to be a chance, but what do you do as a jockey when you draw one with a get-back run on type?
Well, you can't do much. If they're going to get back, they're going to get back. You just got to ride for luck and save ground. I thought Anise is going pretty well. I've watched a few 2-year-old races. He had to go back on in the other day, and he gave Coleman a start.
Yeah.
And it was a good run. And I think that's the horse who, gate 5, could be running 5th, 6th, and hits the line well.
I think with Kuriyanagi, the big plus there, well, the inside wasn't great, as Brenton said, and second start in a race, couldn't really build at that key time and only got out late. And for a horse with a big action like that, there was a lot of merit to that run. And I think the speed on here will probably suit your horse a little bit, Brenton. It's just really going to be following the right one and get that card into the race. But super open race. And I think the box Quinella is the best option.
It's a beauty. There's a couple of 40-1 chances down from Sydney. Don't disregard them. Traffic Wardens won.
We added to the date. We got even more chances.
Well, they were in my 7. Traffic Warden and also Fearless. They're both at 40s.
Yeah.
We'll just keep that in a little time capsule and we'll play it next week.
No, look, I'm with you.
They storm down the outside and win.
It is that kind of races. I mean, Matisse has got to be some chance. And I just wonder with Matisse, I think whether they'll try and be that far back. They've drawn wide and gone back. They don't maybe need to be that far back, you know.
Hey, the Oakley Plate is that great scamper. Now, this is a Group 1 handicap race. And you think that the mare, right up the top of the weights, can give weight to the others and win?
There were no excuses for her last start. I'm just hoping that she needed it. She was overrun by Kalos, who was excellent. But Kalos, I think, just had a day out, and that fresh form reads really well. Not to say that Kalos' second up form is anything wrong with that. This is a Kalos going straight past her for her. And
Kalos meets her a kilo better off at the weights for beating her.
She does. So there's a good case to be made. I think Asforia in this high pressure race will be better suited just with a run under the belt. But and like I said, Kalos, when Kalos is good, she's very good. And I think Asforia was just a bit below her best. So I'm expecting her to elevate, and she's going to make her own luck. And the other runner, Sharippa, is in flying form. Her win at Flemington was outstanding. Sharippa might even be gelding, but look, in unbelievable form. Don't let the wide gate put you off. That started in the Oakley Plate. If you get in that 3-wide trailing position, you can run really well.
Brenton, how light can you ride?
Most of them were too light for me. I was offered a couple down in the weights.
I want to give you, if you could ride at 50 kilos, you've got to jump on King's Gambit. You know, you've seen him up in Sydney. He's a jet, this horse. He gets a chance to show it.
Yes, it could end up a bit tricky for him, though, from where he's drawn. But, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting race.
We're reading from the same him book there. I think the inside draw's a bit tricky for him.
Yeah, look, he could be explosive. I think when he won at Rosehill too, he was given every conceivable when they all left the fence and Tommy.
Bang!
Because he's got a few little quirks. He can sort of sometimes miss it, then over race. So usually in Oakley Plate they go very quickly. So he might be set up right there, but he's going to need the brakes at the right time.
He's going to need luck in running.
Absolutely is. Shane?
Clint, what about this one? Chain of Lightning, has it got a hope? I looked before quickly at it. I don't know them. But Chain of Lightning's got a very good record first up.
Yep,
and
fresh.
Goes extremely well at Caulfield.
Hasn't won in a long time, but yeah, it's a handicap race, and I think the time to catch her is fresh.
Yeah, no, she'll run really well.
Well, it is fresh.
Yeah,
exactly.
She's certainly a top 3, top 4 calculation.
She'll be 30+ to 1, I think.
She is 30 plus to 1.
Yeah.
Correct. So remember who told you here. It was Raymond Shane. That's a look at a couple of the Group 1s in Melbourne. Of course, we're all the way through in the whirlpool towards the Saudi Cup. All right, let's concentrate on a big day, a Group 1 race day on Sunday at Sha Tin. The City Hong Kong Gold Cup is our feature, a Group 1 race, and this is a mouth-watering clash.
Absolutely it is, and Romantic Warrior, obvious, I will have him marked at $1.90. Might be a little shorter, I'm not sure, because Voyage Bubble will come in for some support, and I think Straight Aaron, the obvious, who was fantastic under handicap conditions last time out. It's as good as 1, 2, 3. We're going to look at the Hong Kong Cup. Shane, Straight Aaron, there's a case to be made. He was great last time out. And, you know, now he's had runs in between and, you know, many would say he was a bit unlucky not to win this day.
Yeah, he was a bit unlucky not to win, but the Japanese horse should have won also. Though you want to give them clear runs, the Japanese horse beats Straight Arrow every time, so it was unlucky. The great thing about Romantic Warrior is he's a winner. He's like Octagonal. He's never impressive, but he just seems to get the job done. And I know he's got an awkward gait, but he's just a winner, that horse, as long as Golden 60's not in the race.
I wanted to show that track work. I don't think he's going the best he's gone all season, Romantic Warrior. I think he's gone to another level. He's settled in Hong Kong in terms of his well-being because he was back in Melbourne and he was travelling. That work with Victor, the winner, was sensational. It is a tricky draw, but I think James, my advice would be to be a little bit more conservative this time because I don't think he'll get in, but his class might go to the top.
So, Brenton, if you're riding Voyage Bubble, how do you beat Romantic Warrior?
Oh, well, you don't worry about one horse, do you? That's what Zach says.
We'll do.
So, he's pretty adamant with that. But, look, I think the biggest thing with Voyage Bubble is he hasn't been at the trip for a while. So, main thing with him is you just got to get him to switch off and settle. He obviously outdashed Beauty Eternal the other day, who probably suspect at that trip, the mile. He's probably a better 1,400 metre horse. He's going to be in that 1,400 there in a couple of weeks. But, look, I'm sure I actually haven't been over where the gates are and that, where they've drawn. I think he's obviously drawn
He's drawn 7 and Romantic Warrior's outside in 11.
Yeah, so, look, James always seems to find the right spot, doesn't he? But
I just think here, Brenton, it's a bit tricky. I mean, you've got a few that go forward. You've got, obviously, Encountered Money Catcher. You've got Nimble Nimbus or Hold a Spot. Outside of those, there's a couple of others that will also press on. So, often you will see J-Mac, Champion Dragons, the other. There's a couple there that will just... they're going to hold their spots.
Yeah, just having a quick look at that, it just looks like Zach's actually drawn probably around a bit of the speed, which will probably card him across. And then that might take him to third, fourth, fifth one off and leave James planted if he does roll forward. So that'd be interesting. It'd be tactical for sure. Especially that first corner at the 2,000. It can be obviously a short run. But a lot of these 2,000 metre races I've found there at Sha Tin, they sort of go for a furlong and a half and they pull up down the back. So it'd be an interesting race.
Shane, who'll win?
I'd have Romantic Warrior on top from Straight Arrow from Voyage Bubble, with the roughie in the race, which might be a surprise to you, is Encountered. He could go better from gate 2, box seat. He's not going as bad as his form reads, that horse.
He never got clear the other day at all, did he? He was
No, never got out at all.
Number 6 Encountered as Shane's little roughie in this race. Can we go back to race number 2, Hutch?
Yeah, we can. It's a good small field. I really like one here. I think Sweet Encounter is going to be awfully hard to beat. Field of 6 and no pace. There's literally no pace in this race. Fantastic Treasure, they always want cover. I've got him marked 460. He's back to a mile. He'll be a lot better. And Atullah Begir, well, we saw this win from you, Brendan. He's on the backup. That won't be a problem. And maybe the small field helps with the quiet ride. But I can see in this race, Shane, Karras getting an absolute picnic in front. And if he rates him and doesn't go too slow and starts to build at the right time, I don't think they'll reel in Sweet Encounter with that big drop in weight.
Well, it's a matter of actually just correcting you a little bit. It's a matter of going slow early and then building up at the right time where the back markers can't come into it, Clint. Would you agree with that, Brendan?
Yeah, interesting race. But yeah, the Golden Scenery is probably going to find it a little tricky from 6. Super Sunny Sing's probably just off his best. Atullah Begir, look, he could lob leaders back if he begins like he did the other day, and he does thrive off his slow speed. So I'd say, yeah, probably Sweet Encounter and Atullah Begir are the 2, and Fantastic Treasure, obviously he's going to race well as well.
He's racing well, Fantastic Treasure, and harder races. This is a drop back for him, so he wouldn't be out of it.
The other big plus for Sweet Encounter, of course, he was against the pattern the other day. He covered ground. It was a real inside track. He's 3 deep. His last 2 runs have been enormous, and he drops about double digits in terms of weight with a race run to suit. I like him a lot.
Okay. Race number 9, who do you like here?
Yeah, it's a good race. I love this card at Sha Tin, actually. He's going to be short, but this is a good race. There aren't too many chances. Ruby Lot was fantastic over the 1,000. It was a great run and defeat. Ace Victory. He did win for us last start, and he got his own way in front. He's back up in class. Enterprise Attack's interesting because he's had that second run back from a bit of an issue. But look, Gorgeous Winner's flying. This horse is, pretty smart. Enterprise Attack was in the race. No match this day where they had a few favours on speed. But he's a nice horse, Gorgeous Win, and the form around him, Shane, just keeps stacking up.
Yeah, I like this horse. I backed him his first start where he should have won. He ran 3rd. He trialled overseas extremely well, looked really good overseas before he came here. Looked like a group horse in his trial. So I'd have him on top. Gate 3, he's just going to box seat him. and he should be winning this. He's going to be extremely short, as you said, Clint.
Quick question to both Shane and Brenton. Firstly, Brenton, Ruby Lot seems to have gone a bit better. They've ridden him cold. Hugh got on him and rode him a bit quieter the other day, and they did the same in the 1,000-metre race where he'd had his chances apparently in other events. What have you made of his recent form?
Yeah, he's obviously loved having that smother, especially up the straight. So I think you could see him being 3-4 back the fence and just riding him to finish late. But gorgeous win, progressive, looks better than this level. I'd say, yeah, probably the one for sure.
Yeah. How short do you think he'll be?
Oh, Ruby Lot's going to take some tickets. He'll be odds on. He'll be maybe $1.60 to $1.80, I'd say.
And Romantic Warrior, what sort of price?
He'll be odds on as well.
Odds on?
He'll be odds on, but he won't be too short because I don't think they can let Straight Aaron and Voyage Bubble go, and they seem to always want to be on Zach no matter what he rides. So there'll still be some market support for him.
Race number 10, what are you thinking here?
Good way to finish the day. It's another very, very competitive race, and they ran 1-2 here. I think Young Champion can turn it around on the Luminous. Both imports that have had one run, and they were fantastic. Had amazing victory in for third. He's been absolutely luckless in recent starts, and Green and White is racing well. Shane, I like this run from Young Champion. He just presented. He was beaten fair and square, but I think he just might improve second up more so than probably in Luminous.
Yeah, that could be correct. And also you got to remember John Sayers trains, and you know what his horses do first up to second up. They never go backwards. They improve quite a bit. And the 1400's going to really suit him. His overseas form suggests that.
And Green and White ridden a little quieter, didn't he?
He had the perfect run the other day.
Beautiful acceleration.
It's a key form race, Brenton, with Green and White, because a few of them come out of that. I think Tamara Blitz was one amongst others, but he seemed to get every possible from Zach the other day.
I have. I've had a bit to do with him too, Young Champion. He trialled again the other day, trialled well. I think 1400 will suit him. And the other horse, he's obviously drawn wide.
Oh, that's right, you trialled him.
So, yeah, I think Young Champion's the one for sure.
Okay. When do you actually go back home?
Originally, I was going to fly back Saturday night to ride this meeting. Got suspended, obviously, on a Talabagil, so I'll probably go home Monday night. I think I'm booked forward to trial Tuesday. There's a few horses that I've got to trial Tuesday, and we'll get back into it next Sunday.
So which of the mounts on Sunday are the ones that's really hurting you that you missed out on?
Wasn't too many. Obviously, when you got James and Likes flying in, probably takes a few opportunities. So probably, I think I was offered Ruby Lot. I wasn't riding the Talabagil. He was previously booked with Zach this week. I think last week was more of a, we're just going to throw him in so he's not going too far out, and he was able to get the job done. So I was actually riding the Golden Scenery there. Couple didn't have an overly strong book, so looking to enjoy just obviously seeing Dad, and if we can win a Blue Diamond on the way, it'd be good.
That'd be absolutely amazing. Your best bets for the weekend?
Yeah, best bets for the weekend, and good luck to Brenton as well. We wish you well. I think you got a live chance, along with about 7 or 8 others in the Blue Diamond, Brent, but it'd be great and get involved in the whirlpool there. Sweet Encounter's my best for the moment. We've got the rest of the card to get through by the weekend, but I think he's got a great chance. Good setup, well weighted, and plenty of pluses. Gorgeous winner will be hard to beat. There's the Quinellas, including Ruby Lot. That's race 9 with 3. 3 is the banker with 7 and 14. And I like Young Champion. I'm so happy that Brenton trialled it. I meant to ask him about how Young Champion went in the trial. We've just got the thumbs up, Shane, so nothing wrong with that.
Who's your best, Shane?
Good. Well, Jason rang me this morning and I said, gorgeous win. He said, Clint's got that. I said, it's going to be $1.60 anyway, so it doesn't matter. I said, what else has he got? He said, Young Champion. So I quickly had a look. I said, look, all mine are always getting beat now. They're always unlucky or something happens, and Clint's a genius at the best bets. So let's take him on and go amazing victory at bigger odds.
Oh, I like it. So
been unlucky, Shane, lately.
He's
amazing
due. He's due, that horse.
He's had no luck at all, and he's got Yui on, and Yui's really going to suit this horse. Gate 4, he'll be locked away. Hopefully he gets a clear run at the right time. And it's a strong race, that, Clint. There's a lot of chance, a lot of horses racing well in that race, but he could be like $8 or something, you know, so...
Yeah,
I could see a little side wager, maybe, you know, if Shane wins, a night up at the Gold Coast Penthouse. And if...
well, he owns a lot of good restaurants up there as well, I'm hearing, so maybe we can...
One in Brisbane. The one in Brisbane's really good, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Sorry, Moneybags.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll fly up there and, you know, loser gets dinner or something.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
Reservation for fingers.
I like it.
Brendan, do you want to come back on the show?
Someone's got to give it to you.
Oh, beautiful work, Fingers. You've been outstanding, Golden Boy. Look forward to your company next week.
See you later. And make sure Brendan gets on a plane and doesn't go to another wedding.
Yeah, no, he loves going to weddings. Hey, Brenton, mate, awesome. Thanks for coming in, mate.
No, thanks for having us.
Oh, brilliant.
Best of luck for the rest of the season too.
Yeah, hutchieshonkers.com for the full analysis of a great day on Sunday. Everyone, enjoy.